Jai Hind. So in today class, we are going to learn that what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage of external file style sheets of CSS. Right? So first of all, I am going to tell you what is the advantage of external file style sheets of CSS. Right? So I am going to write here like this. What is the advantage of external file style sheets of CSS, right? Style sheets of CSS. Okay, so basically advantage of external file style sheet of CSS is, right, it's like advantage of external file style sheets of CSS is style sheets of CSS is, right? So advantage of external file style sheets of CSS is we can link that file, right? We can link that file inside the several HTML file, right? So we can link external file of style sheets inside the several HTML files, right? So because of that, right? So because of that, reusability is possible, right? Reusability is possible, right? Reusability is possible. So this is the advantage of external file style sheets of CSS, right? So basically advantage of external file style sheets of CSS is, right, we can link that file, right? We can link that file inside the several HTML files, right? So we can link that file inside the several HTML files, right? So because of this reason, reusability is possible, right? Reusability is possible. Okay, so I hope you understand what is the advantage of external file style sheets of CSS. So now let's understand what is the disadvantage of external file style sheets of CSS. Okay, so what is the disadvantage? What is the disadvantage of external file style sheets of CSS? Style sheets of CSS, right? So what is the disadvantage? Okay, so basically if we write styles in a separate external file, right? So if we write styles in a separate external file and then when we link that file, right? So when we link that file inside the HTML files, right? So when we link that file inside the HTML files for getting the effects or styles, right? For getting the effects or styles, right? So because of if we link several separate external file in one HTML file, right? In one HTML file, right? So if we link several external file in one HTML file, right? So because of that, right? So because of that, our HTML page loading time will be increased, right? Okay, so basically if we link several separate external file in one HTML file, right? So because of this reason, our HTML page, right, our HTML web page loading time will be increased, right? Loading time will be increased, and because of this reason, right, because of this reason, our website will work slow, right, right. So I hope you understand. Okay, so let's understand this concept with the help of MS Paint, right? So let's move on my MS Paint. Okay, so this is my MS Paint, right? So let's understand the concept, right? So let's imagine that we have one external file of CSS, right? So let's imagine that this is one external file of CSS, right? And we have one more external file of CSS, right? And this is second external file of CSS, right? And we have one more external file of CSS. So this is third external file of CSS, right? So let's give name to them. So this is our first external file of CSS, right? First external file of CSS, right? CSS. Okay, so this is the first external file of CSS, right? And this is the second external file of CSS, right? So this is the second external file of CSS. Okay, and this is the third external file of CSS, right? So let's write here, this is the third external file of CSS, right? So after that, now let's imagine that we have one HTML file, right? Let's imagine that this is our HTML file, right? So this is one HTML file, right? So this is one HTML file, right? So this is HTML file. Okay, so let's imagine that we have some code here in first external file, right? Some effects, right? Some effects here, and we have some effects in second external file of CSS, right? And we have some effects in third external file, right? So I want all three effects, right? All three effects in my HTML file, right? So for that I'm linking all three external file inside my HTML file for getting the effects, right? So first I'm linking this, right? After that I'm linking this in my HTML file, right? So and I'm linking this also in my HTML file for getting the effects, right? So what is going here, right? So if we link, right? So if we link several external file of CSS, right? So if we link several external file of CSS, then what is happen? This HTML file web page is not working fast, right? It's loading slow, right? When we open this HTML file, it will load very slow, right? It will load very slow. It take loading time, right? It take lots of loading time to this HTML web page, right? So it will take loading time, and it will open slow, it will work slow. Why? Because of all these several external file that are linking here, and this external file is also loading, right? So when we load this HTML file, then this file is also loading, right? This file is also loading. While it's loading, because we link this file in our HTML page, right? We link this file in our HTML page. Because of this reason, this file will also load, right? After that, it will give effect in our HTML page, right? So disadvantage of this external file of CSS is, if we link several file in our HTML page, then our HTML web page loading time will be increased, right? So because of this reason, our web page will work slow, right? Our web page will, this HTML web page will work slow, right? Work slow, right? So this is the biggest disadvantage of external file of CSS, right? So I hope you understand the concept, right? So we will meet in next lecture. Jai Hind.